What's up, everyone? Corbin Dak back with another episode. Sorry about Friday. I know on the podcast last Wednesday, we did say we were going to be back, put one out on Friday before the games. Unexpected things happened. My wife, we had our daughter, so we got home from the hospital on Friday. Just didn't want to get it done, but we're back now with an episode, dropping this one, and then we should have another one out to you guys on Friday. So, Dak, you want to get us rolling?
Yeah, we'll get into some college football recap. Do you want to start with Texas, Michigan?
Yeah, Texas, Michigan.
Texas, Michigan. Michigan absolutely got destroyed. That's what I thought was going to happen. They don't have the same team as last year. Texas is a legit team this year with Georgia. I honestly think only Texas and Georgia are the big main schools right now, I would say. But that was a big win for Texas against Michigan. Was it at Michigan?
It was in Ann Arbor.
So
to go do that,
that's a big win. You win by what, 20 points? Almost 19. You led in every category. Stat wise, you didn't have any turnovers. So I want to start saying this, if you have no turnovers in the game, I believe you're gonna win the game usually.
Usually. Yeah, I mean, Texas looked phenomenal.
Yeah,
Texas looked like a top 2 team. Like you said, Georgia and Texas is really what looks like the best teams.
I think those are the two most dominant teams this year, as throughout week 2.
Yeah, Texas looked great. Quinn Ewers looked great. Quinn Ewers did exactly what he needed to do to go and get the win in Ann Arbor. Their offense looked absolutely unstoppable.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think Michigan could stop them at all.
No.
Their defense, solid. Didn't let much up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a couple big plays here and there. You know, second quarter is when they really started getting it going. Their defense and really stopped everything.
Yeah.
Really stopped. I mean, 3 and outs pretty much the whole entire rest of the game. Obviously, Michigan got some points on the board, but I don't know what's up with Michigan.
Well, that Michigan team isn't the same. Like I said before, they lost Harbaugh, they lost their quarterback, they lost their running back.
A lot of guys gone.
They lost a lot of players on the team, so it's going to be hard for them to get more chemistry together, and it's going to take a little. I don't think they're going to be that good this year.
I don't think so. I don't think they're going to finish top 10. So. But I feel like a lot of the reason, I know it's hard to blame one person, but I feel like the quarterback play for Michigan is kind of a big reason on there not being so much success in that game.
Yeah.
I mean, he looked very out of sorts. Didn't look like he wanted to really throw the ball at all. The run game couldn't get going. And the offense was just out there way too long, way too short amount of times for the defense to just, at least catch their breath.
Yeah.
They were constantly going in and out. So, I mean, that's the recipe to lose a game.
And what I didn't understand either is what year is that quarterback for Michigan? You know?
I want to say he's in his second year.
Okay.
Maybe his second.
So, I feel like their best player on the team is their running back, right? Why are you running the ball?
Say on the
Why did they
offensive
run
side.
the ball only 22 times?
Because they couldn't get it going.
Well, what?
You know what I mean? If you can't get something going, and then
yes, but
next
when
problem,
when your quarterback's throwing 2 picks, I feel like you got to start running the ball.
Yeah, I mean, your next problem is when you're down by how much they were, it's kind of hard to keep running the ball. Obviously, you want to run the ball, get some play action going, get defense to look at different ways, different things. But when you're down, I mean, you need points fast.
Yeah.
Especially when you get in that fourth quarter. You got to throw the ball. And then all you got to do is drop 2 safeties back and play, a cover 2 and just keep everything in front of you. And that's how you win the game when you're up big like that. So I think Michigan's really, really, really got to find QB play if they want to somewhat get into the playoffs this year, not miss the playoffs. What are the chances of the Big Ten championship?
Of them making it?
Of them winning it?
Michigan. They're not. No chance. They have no chance of even making it. I don't think I think you can compare them to Florida this year.
I mean, I don't know. I think they're a little bit better than Florida. I think they can still compete. I mean, they still got to play Oregon and Ohio State. They're in the Big Ten. Penn State, they don't play Penn State, but Penn State's in the Big Ten. Mm-hmm. How well is Penn State going to do?
Penn State honestly struggled versus...
They did. They struggled 2 weeks in a row.
Who was that?
2 weeks in a row.
I checked that too. Who was that? It was Bowling Green.
Yeah, they struggled.
No way.
They were actually down in that game. In the beginning of the game, they were down.
Yeah, Big Ten. I mean,
I mean, it's really going to be Oregon, Ohio State
Yeah.
in the championship. I don't
Yeah.
think.
Well,
Michigan
I
has
don't
what it
know with
takes.
Oregon, dude. Oregon's scaring me too. They've been close
Yeah.
games as well.
Yeah, but
There's
I think
no
they
way.
looked.
There's no way that Boise State should have only lost by 3 in that game.
But does that just tell you how good Boise State might be? Do you think these are the comeback years of Boise State?
I mean,
College football was phenomenal when Boise State was good.
yes, they have a really good run game, but I just feel like if Oregon wants to be one of the big schools this year,
Top 5.
they gotta beat Boise State more than 3. They
Yeah.
have to. They have to.
They got to change something.
That's not.
They got to change something.
And then what was the game before? Who did they play before? In week 1, and they struggled again.
Yeah. No, they struggled. They struggled up until the fourth quarter. The fourth quarter, they started kind of.
But I mean, that's
away.
2 weeks in a row now. And it's
Yeah.
like we thought.
Yeah,
Like
they
Dylan
played-
Gabriel's, he's still looking really good, but
They played
I think
Idaho.
I think it's their defense, Cord.
It might be.
At the end of the day, their offense is getting points, but their defense is
But
also.
why can't
on.
the offense put up 40 points like some of these other big schools? Like Georgia, Texas put up almost 40 on
See,
Michigan. You know what I mean?
Yeah. See, that's what that.
So is it an offensive problem too? I don't think it's Dylan Gabriel.
I think maybe. Do they have a lot of Did they get a lot of new recruits and stuff? Maybe it's chemistry. They're not just.
They had a lot of guys transfer in.
So I mean, it could be that too. They're still getting used to that program and system, but.
It's week 2. I mean,
But
you're still working out kinks.
Yeah, I guess so. I would expect more out of Oregon.
I would.
And Dylan is playing really well.
Yeah,
I
no,
think it's
Dylan
honestly
Gabriel.
probably just their defense.
I mean, he only threw for 243 yards, but you still get the win. I mean,
Yeah.
sometimes it's just you don't have to throw for 400 yards to win a game in college. Sometimes you just need a little over 2, and it gets the job done. But back to Michigan. I mean, Michigan, they're still going to have to play Oregon, Ohio State, and USC.
Yeah, that's why I don't think they're.
I mean, that could be 3 losses right there,
Yeah.
and you're looking at a 4-loss season, whether you win the rest of your games out or not.
Mhm.
So, I think that's tough.
But yeah, just turnovers killed them in that game.
Yeah, turnovers, quarterback play.
They had 3 turnovers, 1 fumble, 2 interceptions.
Yeah.
You can't win a football
No,
game like
you
that.
can't win a
You
football game
can't.
like that.
So,
What'd you think about the game on Friday night, Duke and Northwestern?
I didn't really look into that game, but because I don't really think any of those schools are. I think Duke's overrated. They lost their quarterback.
I mean, yeah, but their quarterback just lost.
We'll get into that.
I mean, it was a battle of ACC and Big Ten. Those are obviously your 2 big conferences. Obviously, SEC's top right now. But dude, second overtime game to start the football week off. That's a fun game.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fun game, especially with Northwestern. I had a little high hopes for Northwestern to be a little good this year. I didn't think they were going to win the Big Ten. I mean, they're in a tough conference as it is, but I was kind of hoping for a little something. And they in that game, I don't think you can necessarily. Yes, they lost on paper, but you take a team to double overtime. I mean, that's a shootout to me. So you were in the game the whole time. But Duke's offense really stepped up, which was the question mark going into this year with Riley Leonard, transferring out.
And their head coach leaving.
Yeah, their head coach leaving. So there was a lot of questions around Duke, and I think Duke is starting to answer a little questions. And with the ACC, the way it's looking, I mean, how does Duke fit into this ACC conference?
I do think there is a sneaky team that could win that division, and it's Syracuse.
Syracuse did take down Georgia Tech, didn't let them really do anything. But
Syracuse, they have a really good quarterback.
Yeah, but I think Duke is.
Duke
Looks good. I mean, they're 2-0. I mean, they're rolling.
Yeah.
No one thought they were probably going to be 2-0
Mhm.
going, start the season. Granted, it is only
Who they
2
play
games
week
in
one?
the season. Week 1, Duke played Elon. So, I don't know who Elon is.
Yeah.
26-3, but I mean, still. 26-3, defense stepped up, quarterback almost threw for 300 yards. So, can't complain about that. So,
Yeah.
I think Duke. Do I think Duke's going to win? Even come close to winning the ACC? I don't think they're going to make the ACC championship,
Yeah.
but I think that Duke has they're there if they can get there.
Yeah.
I think they can get
They
there.
have a chance.
I think they have a chance, especially because I think the ACC looks so weak. I mean,
Mhm.
SMU lost on Friday night.
SMU
with
is
Duke
awful.
winning. Yeah, they lost
Awful.
to BYU.
That is one of the most overrated teams in college football.
So, I mean, Clemson rolled back after they lost to Georgia. But there's really not a powerhouse team that I see in the ACC besides Miami.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you know, Miami's still they're rolling.
Yeah, they're rolling
So,
right now.
Yeah,
but I do like Syracuse in that conference.
yeah, Syracuse could be good.
They could be
I
a
mean,
sneaky team.
you have Jake commented on our post and saying
Oh,
that Boston College is
too.
a dark
I forgot
horse.
about Boston College.
Boston College
And
still looks really good.
I do think they are a dark horse just because of Bill O'Brien.
Yeah, I mean Bill O'Brien, their quarterback is fun to watch play. That kid is really he's all
and
over
they can
the
run the
place.
ball.
Yeah, they can smash you in the mouth. So.
If you can run the ball and have defense, you can win.
Yeah,
you
I
can
think
win
saying
football games.
saying Boston College is a dark horse is 100% accurate. I think that's in the way that the ACC is right now. I think it's the weakest it may have ever been.
Mm-hmm.
It's may is, but I think I mean Boston College they have a chance. I mean if they keep rolling like they are, Duke maybe they have a small little chance to get in, sneak in. I think Clemson and Miami are going to be the ones kind of pushing the ACC. I don't see anyone else. Florida State definitely isn't unless they find something that no one else knows about. I don't think they are, but yeah.
What's that guy's name who said that you guys were not going to win really any games this year?
I don't remember.
It's Paul. He has forget his name, but he might be right about Florida State this year.
Well, not only are we have bad quarterback play, the defense looks like a bunch of sissies.
Well, and you guys are also
we just lost.
You see what you guys are doing at practice?
We just lost our best receiver.
Spraying water guns at each other.
Yeah, it's a good way to really team bonding.
Yeah.
We're winning games. Yeah. But our best receiver, Lucas, he's gone for the season. I haven't even heard anything about his injury.
I don't think
they won't put it out there.
I think ever since what happened to FSU last year, I just feel like they're on a downfall right now.
I wouldn't say a downfall. I just think
this year, yes.
I think this year, but I don't think this is going to be a downfall like we saw after Jameis Winston left. I think Mike Norvell is still going to rebuild the program. Not rebuild.
I mean, I just don't think you guys have a quarterback.
We don't. I mean, we're all calling for
a quarterback though.
We're all calling for second string.
I just don't understand how DJ has been playing football for so long and he can't. Why is he not producing? It's been 4 years now?
4 years.
It blows my. I don't know.
4 years.
It blows my mind. I see Brock Purdy. Yes, maybe it's a bad comparison, but I see Brock Purdy, 7th round pick. Yes, he has a lot of weapons on his team. He's getting the job done.
Yeah.
He's played a lot of years.
I mean, it's not a very good look when you got, fans and a lot of analysis guys calling for Brock Glenn, our second string quarterback, to come in and play. And Brock Glenn's been with,
Well, I mean, you guys got to start doing some things. Like if DJ is terrible in the first half, this next game, you have to bench him. You have to.
Yeah.
You have to.
I don't.
You have to.
I don't know where.
Because it's been so long now where we keep saying the same things over and over about DJ. Like, when is he gonna prove that he was this top prospect coming in college football? When is he gonna produce? He hasn't.
I don't think he ever will. I would be surprised.
And it sucks.
I wouldn't be surprised if we lose pretty much most of our games this year. Yeah. Maybe get a couple wins here and there. And I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't get drafted.
And I do feel like why your defense isn't looking as well either is because I feel like your defense is like, okay, DJ isn't doing shit.
We're out there too much.
That's your deep.
The defense is out there way too much.
Yeah.
So they can't catch a breath. It's the same thing. It's gonna be the same thing week in and week out. Like we're gonna at this point we're already beating a dead horse and we're only going into week 3.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's how bad it's getting for Florida State. So I think there's an opportunity for Duke in the ACC. I think there's an opportunity for Boston College, Syracuse. Obviously Miami I think is going to run the ACC. Yeah. Clemson's still going to be there. Clemson still looks okay. I mean, they bounced back from Georgia. Obviously,
Clemson has all the defense.
But when you play the number 1 team in the country, I mean, that's what you're expecting on somewhat of a figuring out kind of year. Like Clemson's trying to figure out their identity again ever since Trevor Lawrence left.
I guess so. I won't say that. We'll go into the next game.
All right. I mean, what
about?
I
was gonna say if Trevor Lawrence was on that team on Clemson this year, they would have been in that game.
In the Georgia game.
Yeah,
sure. I mean, Trevor Lawrence was a once in a generation talent coming through from high school to college. I mean, one of the biggest stars to hit college football. What about some teams that some
big college teams, top 10 teams that were really rolling this week?
I would say, Tennessee and Nebraska were my two. I was very surprised out of what they did. I mean, I kind of knew that Nebraska was going to go in and beat Colorado,
you
but
called
Tennessee, I did not expect them to blow out NC State like that.
Tennessee's legit.
I did not expect
Tennessee
that.
is legit.
That quarterback's insane for Tennessee.
Tennessee is a legit team, and for them to only be ranked 14th is crazy, dude.
I was expecting a close defensive game, and it was just Tennessee.
It was close. Game. It was in the first.
It was Tennessee the whole
up
game.
to pretty much the first half. It was sort of a close game, and then second
Tennessee
half they just completely.
Because I do think to NC State, that's an ACC.
ACC.
They're not bad at all either. I mean, they're 24th ranked, but you're playing Tennessee SEC school. They dominated.
Yeah,
they dominated. It was Nebraska, Tennessee I liked, and then my best performance of the week was NIU, beating Notre Dame in Notre Dame. I don't know how you pay a school $1.5 million and you lose that game
1.4
at home.
Yeah.
1.4, and you lose that game at home.
Yeah.
And I can tell you why they lost.
I don't think they're that good.
Riley Leonard, 2 picks versus NIU.
Yeah.
2 interceptions.
Yeah, I don't.
Versus NIU.
I don't think they're that great.
The NIU quarterback had more yards passing than Riley Leonard did.
Yeah, they're not that great. I could have told you that Notre Dame was going to choke. Did I think Notre Dame was going to choke this early in the season?
I didn't either. No.
I didn't think that, but at some point
the thing is, they looked really good versus Texas A&M, and then they come in at home. You would think it's a home opener. They want to win big.
Yeah.
Versus NIU. That's why they did it.
Yeah.
And then they lose.
You know what's crazy about Notre Dame is Notre Dame this season had it so set up for them to make the college. They were so set up to take that 5th spot. They were going to take it because that's all they could get was the 5th spot. They were that was them.
Yeah.
They were 5th spot. And you go and lose to NIU. You had the easiest schedule in college football. The rest of the season was a walk in the park. A walk in the park. And you lose to NIU. And now I don't even know how do you make it in with the strength of schedule? How do you make it into the college
I don't think Notre Dame makes it now.
Your strength of schedule sucks.
I see playoff predictions now, and they have NIU in it.
I mean, they would be probably 12.
What is their schedule looking like, NIU? Like, do they play any tough schools? I don't think Notre Dame makes it, though, Corp. I don't.
No, I don't think so either. I think that
Notre Dame probably plays one more. They probably do play one more good team, and I think they're going to get another loss.
I mean, they play. NIU's going to play Buffalo, NC State, Massachusetts, Bowling Green, Toledo, Ball State, Western Michigan, Akron, Miami, Ohio, and Central Michigan.
Easy, but I do think they could lose to
NC State.
No, read it.
Bowling Green.
Bowling Green.
Yeah. I mean, it's a tough conference. I mean, this is the MAC standings. As of now, they're 2-0 overall. No teams played they haven't played in the conference. No team has played a conference game, so that Bowling Green game is going to be a big one because of them being in the same conference.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, they got a lot of conference games in here with Ball State, Toledo, Bowling Green, Western Michigan, Akron, Miami, Ohio, and Central Michigan. I mean,
Notre Dame should have clean sweep.
The fact that you just pay $1.4 million to get your
and you lose at home in front of all these fans, and you're losing.
Waiting for you to come home after
That's crazy.
That big win against Texas A&M.
I was speechless. I was watching that at work, and I was like, "There's no way this team is losing right now."
Yeah.
To NIU.
I mean, some other teams that I saw rolling. Obviously, your boys, the Bulldogs.
Oh yeah.
I mean they played Tennessee Tech. But 48-3.
We didn't hit the spread though. Did you see what the spread was?
Wasn't it like 60 something?
54.5.
Yeah, 54.
And then they decide what was it, Tennessee Tech decided to kick a field goal right at the end of the game.
Yeah.
Get some points on the board.
Yeah, I mean, just rolling. That's how Georgia's going to be. And
there was a team that scared me this week who I was not expecting it was to be that close. And it was a great game. Went into OT. I think it went into double OT.
Oklahoma State.
Yep. Arkansas. Yep. I was because I had that on my parlay, and I was like, there's no way Oklahoma State loses this game.
Yeah.
There's no way. They're at home, home opener.
Yeah, I had that.
But they struggled. I mean,
I had that game put down as the best college game.
Yeah, and it was one of the best.
It was so fun to watch. I was sitting there watching on the TV, and I put a lot of faith into Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
I thought Oklahoma State was going to blow them out, and they go down 21-7,
Mm-hmm.
and then just start marching
Yeah.
back in the second half. They go up 28-21, and then it takes 2 plays, 2 bombs
Mhm.
for Arkansas to tie it back up, go to double overtime, and then that's when Oklahoma State just went to it. They got the job done. So.
I think the big reason why Oklahoma State struggled in that game too is they could not get their running game going. They
no,
couldn't get
and their
dude,
running
they only
back is
had
phenomenal.
They had 59 rushing yards
Yeah.
on 26 attempts.
And that kid's coming back too.
Oh, Ollie?
He came
I
back.
love Ollie.
Yeah, he came back for this last.
So that's the
season.
thing. It showed like that's what we thought. Oklahoma State is a running football team.
Yeah.
Which it showed that if they can't run, they can maybe throw sometimes. Yes, their quarterback was a little iffy
I like
on some
their-
throws.
I like their quarterback.
He
I
threw a
like their
pick,
quarterback.
but that just shows that he can get it done too if their running game isn't going.
And
And
I
dude,
gotta-
Arkansas balled.
Yeah, I mean
They
their
balled.
quarterback looked great. I mean he had a couple. I think he had an interception or so.
He had one pick and there was 2 fumbles.
But I mean 416 yards. I mean that's a great game. I
Pretty
mean,
good.
And you fought in there with a top 16
And
school.
dude, I'm so surprised that Arkansas lost this game when they led passing yards and rushing. They had 232 rushing yards.
That just shows that Oklahoma
Turnovers.
State is a good team that finds a way to win when they need to.
And like I said before, it's another game where turnovers are going to lose you the game. Where they had Oklahoma State had 1 and Arkansas had 3.
I think it was also where the turnovers occurred.
Yeah,
The turnovers
there was like
occurred
2 on their side.
on
Yeah.
Arkansas side. So that's you get ball back. You know,
Mhm.
Oklahoma State gets ball back in other teams' territory. I mean, it's you gotta make them pay for those turnovers, and Oklahoma State did to win
Yeah.
that game. So
They won that game.
Bama rolled against USF, 42-16.
Dude, and they were struggling. In the
That was
game.
a struggle.
Yeah.
That was a struggle up until
But
I'd say closer to the fourth quarter
Yeah.
is when Bama started
I
taking
think
it away.
yeah, Bama had 28 points in the 4th.
Yeah.
But I think what happened was Bama probably just struggled a little bit. They didn't know what to do yet, like what to run. USF, right?
Yep.
They don't have that bad of a defense.
No,
So
I will say. I
that's-
mean,
I think that's a big reason why they struggled.
we got boys
a
that
little
go to University of South Florida,
Mhm.
and they've gone. I think 2 or 3 years in a row now. They've seen, or maybe it's been 2 years in
It
a
was
row.
2 years.
They've seen South Florida and Bama play, and both games were close.
Well, the first game we know why that was close.
yeah,
There was no Milrow,
Well-
and they were playing in a hurricane.
that was what that was Alabama trying to figure out their quarterback
Yeah.
because Milrow was in. It was just finding his
Yeah.
rhythm, and then I think after that game is when Milrow kind of stepped up and really started to find his rhythm. So he looked good. I mean, they still struggled, So here's my thing: are you going to struggle like that to a powerhouse top 5 school?
I mean, I don't see Alabama as the same Alabama without Nick Saban. So, I do have some concern for Alabama. I do.
Like when they play Georgia, when
if they do
play,
that first half versus Georgia, they're not winning
Yeah,
that game.
I mean,
Georgia's going to be up 24-0.
if you do that against Georgia, Texas, Ole Miss,
Yeah.
I mean, I would go as far to say, can you play like that against Tennessee?
Mhm.
So I have a lot of questions around Bama.
Well, the thing too with Bama too is that their defense is going to go out there and stop
Yeah,
people too.
defense-
So that's
that-
a big reason why they were even in the game in the beginning too.
Yeah.
Because USF can't do anything on offense.
Yeah.
We saw that they can't pass. They can barely run. And you're playing Alabama. Do you know they're going to have some big dogs?
How many picks did USF throw?
Um,
I'm pretty sure it was like
I
2.
might have to check.
I'm pretty
But
sure
that's
it was
what I'm
like
saying,
2
like,
or 3.
If that's probably too, like Alabama's probably like, all right, if we can't really get down the field on USF, might as well just put our defense out there.
Yeah.
We know our defense is going to stop them. How many points did USF have? 17?
16.
16.
They did
So-
16.
And then Alabama finally finds something in the 4th quarter. They have 28 points.
Yeah, I mean
Uh,
close game. But no, I'm pretty sure the South Florida quarterback threw at least 2 picks. I
Yeah.
believe he threw 2 picks. Just couldn't get a lot of completions. But I mean, their defense stepped up
Yeah.
hard
Well, it's Alabama.
to get it to the 4th quarter. No, I'm talking about
USF?
USF.
Well,
Their
that's the
defense
thing.
stepped
I
up
feel like
hard.
there's a lot of. That's the thing with college football now. I feel like is that you're going to see teams that are going to have really good defenses, but their offenses aren't going to be able to move the ball.
Yeah.
That's just how it's going to be. I mean, it's easy to have a good defense. I feel like than it is to have a good offense.
For sure.
So, and defenses win games.
They do.
win championships.
100%. I mean, anyone that says that high-powered offenses win championships,
You jack shit because look at you at
like
USC
I just
last year.
yeah I can't. Defense wins championships in every single aspect of the game. You know, even with baseball, you have to pitch the ball.
Yeah.
You have to pitch the ball. You can have great offense, but
If you have no one in
but
the
think about
infield,
it. You can miss 80% of your hits and still be a top guy in the MLB. Like that's defense is just where it's at. Make the simple plays and get guys down in open field, make your tackles. Don't allow 40 yards over your head. As long as you can allow small gains and get a turnover once or twice in the game, you have a really good chance at winning the game. And I think that's at the college level, unless you just have a high powered offense that's just playing a beat down defense.
Yeah.
But I mean, other teams rolling. I mean, Ole Miss rolling. Missouri. No one's really talking about Missouri. Missouri's 2-0, ranked 9th.
I do think they lose this week though.
Really?
I do think they lose.
Well,
this week.
we'll get into that.
Check who they play.
Mizzou is
I want to make sure I'm right on this.
Boston College.
Yes, that's why. Yes, I believe Missouri loses this week.
Look at Missouri. It's number 6. They went up to number 6. Michigan drops out, 17. Oklahoma State got into the top 15. Kansas State into the top 15. Alabama's at 4 now.
So you said Boston College?
Boston College is 24.
Yeah, I got Boston College.
Miami 10. Oregon 9. They dropped Oregon back pretty high. Notre Dame went to 18. Oklahoma sits at 15. Utah still at 12 spot. Ole Miss at 5, top 5. Texas number 2.
Mm-hmm.
Nebraska makes it in. So, I mean, a big shakeup. Tennessee down to 7, from 15 to 7.
Yeah.
And rightfully so, because they've dominated.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know they're not playing the best of schools, but they have been dominating. So they've looked really, really good.
But you got,
I think Missouri loses that game next week versus
they
Boston
could.
College.
That quarterback play is just so hard to keep him contained.
I just feel like it's going to be a defensive game. There's going to be no offense.
Yeah. But to keep
But
that
those
quarterback contained is tough. That's a tough play.
Yeah.
Miami rolled against Florida A&M.
Obviously, they should have.
I do have an upset that I was kind of really mad about that killed my parlay, and that's literally the only team I needed to win. Iowa State came into Iowa and beat them.
They're one of my they're one of my biggest losers from this past week.
Because you know how many opportunities they had to win that game, and they were up in that game 13-0 at half, and I think it was 19-7 in the third quarter, and you lose that game.
Yep.
They had so many opportunities.
Another under for an Iowa game.
Yep.
Always bet the under on Iowa games. That's
But no, that game was another upset that I was just like, wow, how do you lose that game?
USC rolled all over Utah State.
Oh,
They look great.
USC. Check who they play too. Sorry about that. That's another team I think is gonna get a dub this week versus. I think they're playing someone pretty good. They're not ranked, so you might have to.
Well, USC's ranked.
Oh, the USC is ranked now?
They've been ranked, dude. They're undefeated.
I mean, not USC. USF. Or not USF, UCF. Sorry.
They
UCF.
play TCU.
And they have TCU as the favorites in that game.
That's a conference game.
I would take UCF.
Yeah, that's a conference game. 2-0.
I like that, though.
They're first in Big 12.
And then I got some questions too, Cord, for you.
All right.
About some college football.
Yeah.
What should I start off with? Oh. Is Notre Dame overrated?
100%.
Okay.
110%. How can you not say that they're overrated? I mean, can you even say that they're overrated anymore after losing to NIU?
Yeah, they're overrated.
Can you even say it's overrated?
They're overrated.
They just showed, to me, they just showed who they actually are.
Yeah.
That's personally how I feel about Notre Dame.
And okay, next one. Could Nebraska make it deep in the playoffs?
No.
No? Really?
No.
You don't think?
They'd be, if they make it in, second round knockout.
Okay. And one more. Is Tennessee a playoff team?
110%.
Okay.
110%. I wouldn't be surprised if we're talking about Tennessee playing for the SEC championship. You know?
Yeah.
I
I mean,
True.
you got Georgia. Alabama's going to
Texas.
be there. Texas, and I think Tennessee.
Yeah.
Actually, wait. You got Ole Miss in there too. So it's a tough top
True.
5 for the SEC. Very tough.
And no, that's not a good question. And do you want to do our top 12 teams right now in college football?
Yeah, we
In
can.
the segment
We
on
can.
that?
I mean, I just wanted to get your thoughts on some of who I thought were the biggest losers.
Oh, okay.
Obviously Notre Dame, NIU.
Yeah.
But Penn State.
Yeah.
I know we touched a little bit on Penn State, but how do you keep a game? How are you so you're top 10 and you can't go out there and beat down Bowling Green?
Maybe Bowling Green's good. But the thing is that like you go in week 1 into West Virginia and you beat them big. And then you come home. Were they at home?
It was a home game.
Home game, and you probably paid Bowling Green that money to come and play you, and you beat them by what? 7?
Yeah, it was 7.
7.
Yeah.
When they were probably minus 20 favorites.
Yeah, I mean, you talked about it, and you thought that the only reason Penn State was able to take the lead the way they did in that game was because of the rain delay.
Yep.
You just think West Virginia got.
They had
further.
more momentum.
Yeah.
Coming out of that rain delay.
So you talked about that, and that was probably a big thing. I think maybe Penn State stayed a little hotter. They stretched up. You know, who knows what they did
Yeah.
in that rain delay, because it was a long rain delay.
Yeah, it
I
was
think
like 2 hours.
I think it was almost
3 hours.
yeah.
It was a while.
So it was a long time. I mean, it didn't finish up until like close to
Mhm.
5 o'clock.
and the game
The
started
game
at like
started at 12.
12. Yeah.
Oklahoma played a really close game to
Oh,
Houston,
yes, to Houston, 12-16.
and they're a top 15 team.
And I think Houston's awful. I think they're awful. I think they're one of the most overrated teams every year in college
think they're-
football.
Well, I think they're a basketball school.
Exactly. Yeah.
Their basketball team, basketball team makes it, at least to,
Mhm.
the Sweet 16 almost every year. I feel like we're seeing them now.
But like for Oklahoma to be ranked 15 and you only beat Houston by 4 points, does that mean Houston had 4 field goals and they would have? Well, did they have 2 touchdowns or?
They probably had a touchdown and the rest were field goals.
Yeah, that's just. You're a top 15 team like Oklahoma. They're in the SEC now too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what my question was. Can they compete
No.
against any SEC teams?
Nope.
Like,
not after
where-
that. Not after that game.
I mean, if I think where they finish in the SEC is going to be behind Alabama, Georgia, Texas,
yeah.
Tennessee, Ole Miss, even Missouri.
Yeah.
Missouri's
could be
there
good
too.
Tennessee.
Yeah, I just couldn't believe that was how close
Yeah,
that game
that
was.
was-
As a top 15 school, and you're coming into the SEC where you said you were so good enough to play in the SEC
Mhm.
to leave. I believe it was the Big 12.
Yeah.
Come over to the SEC, and this is the way
You
that
beat
you're
a-
putting it
you beat a
together.
Houston team by 4 points.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's
They're
crazy.
at home too.
They were at home. Yes,
Yeah,
Yep.
that's just awful.
they were at home.
That's awful.
The last one, because you already touched on Iowa State game, the Cyhawk game, obviously, but Kansas loses to Illinois.
Oh yeah, Illinois is another good team in the SEC.
They're
Are
a
they
pretty solid
ACC?
team. No, they're
Big
not.
10.
I believe they're in the Big Ten.
Big 10. My bad.
Or the Big. No, I believe they're in. Are they in the Big Ten?
What are
I
they
think
in?
I think they're in the Big Ten. But I couldn't believe. Yeah, Big Ten.
Ten.
But yeah, Kansas did nothing.
Yeah.
They couldn't move the football.
Well, the other Illinois reminds me of Syracuse a lot. They have a quarterback who can play football.
Yeah, I mean,
If you have a quarterback who can play football and move the ball down the field, you're going to get wins. It's a fact.
I thought I think Illinois' defense was really, really good too.
Yeah.
Because Kansas's quarterback, that kid can run. That kid loves to push the ball down the field and loves to tuck and run. And they stopped him.
Well, what happens when you can't run?
They stopped him. So I think Illinois, huge
It's
winner.
yeah.
Kansas, I don't think they're even ranked anymore.
Mhm.
I mean, they were supposed to be a team that maybe could have snuck in a little bit
Yeah,
into
but no,
the
not for Illinois.
the playoffs, but nope.
But no, Illinois is not a bad team. They remind me of Syracuse a lot this
Yeah.
year as well.
Yeah, but other than that, I mean, obviously another big loser, Colorado losing to Nebraska. I think everyone really kind of saw that
I
coming.
knew Colorado was going to get their ass blown up.
But I mean,
And then you want to sit there and blame your O-line.
like
Dion, maybe go recruit
recruit
recruit O-line instead of skill players.
I just couldn't believe that they couldn't even score.
Well, dude,
Like
when you
you didn't score till like the fourth
Corbett,
quarter.
when you recruit just skill players and you're not recruiting O-line, That was their main problem last year. Was their O-line and their defense. Their defense is better this year. Their O-line is still trash.
And I'm pretty sure we talked about
it's
that
still trash.
before the season started.
Yes.
I think we talked about it before the first game on Thursday.
Yeah.
We question marked that offensive line.
Yeah.
Can the offensive line step up, unlike last year,
Mm-hmm.
and keep Shedeur Sanders safe? And they're not doing it.
They can't.
They're not doing it.
Well, that's the thing. You get all these good skill recruit players, and you can't do anything with them because you have no time to fucking throw the ball.
No, I mean I could.
And yes, I feel for Dion. I feel for Shedeur and Dion. I understand a big issue is your offensive line, but you can't put every blame on that loss on the O line. You can't. There's other plays in that game. Defense allowed huge plays by Dylan Raiola. That I think he's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
He's
a true freshman.
But I mean, it starts with the O line. The O line, you got to fix that. And as we see, Dion has not recruited any O linemen. None.
I mean, like I said, that was our question. Can they keep Shedeur Sanders safe? And obviously, the answer is no. When you're playing a top school, that's phenomenal. When you're playing a FCS school.
Well, that's the thing. They played South Dakota State.
Yeah.
And they barely won.
They played.
What does that say?
North Dakota State.
It's just the O line is awful.
Yeah, you play North Dakota State. It's a shootout.
Yeah.
You're still allowing big yards. The defense is still a question mark. It just got overshadowed by the win and by Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders connecting for 3 touchdowns.
That's good.
Warren having a touchdown.
It's awesome seeing that. I love seeing that. But you can't do that consistently if you're not holding a block.
Yeah. Well, I guess my Big 12 prediction of them winning.
They're not winning.
Out the door.
I think they're going to be awful again this year. And it's their O line.
Yeah.
It's their O line.
It's terrible.
And yes, like Dion, yes, they're ripping on the O line. They're really only getting on them. There's probably other problems on the team too, but you got to put the blame on Dion. That he hasn't recruited any O linemen.
I don't think there should be blame. I think it should just be the team played like shit.
Yeah, but Corbett, this was the issue last year. Like, all right, we understand we don't have an O line this year. Let's get a better O line next year. More recruits, better players. They didn't do it.
But how are you going to like that? All the players on your team are supposed to be brothers. You're supposed to be a pact of brothers, right? Is blaming every single person of being a pact of brothers? Hell no. So I think there's your biggest problem is you want to push blame on everyone else instead of accepting where your failure was in that game.
Well, what I didn't like either
can
was...
Can Shedeur Sanders sit here and say, this is what I did wrong. I failed you guys in this. No, we're just going to push it off on the offense.
That's what I didn't like about Shedeur at conference when he's like, how many times did Raiola get touched? Okay. Like you didn't have to go to Colorado, Shedeur. You didn't have to go play with Dion. You could have went to another SEC, another school with a good O line, but you wanted to go with your father, with Travis Hunter. Like you guys are going to go do some crazy shit, like you're the new show on turf, and you guys haven't done shit because you have no O line there. Like you can have all these skill players, you can have you can have J. Jeff, you can have all these players, but if you don't have an O line, you're not going to do jack shit with.
Quarterback can't throw the ball. Do you think Patrick Mahomes would be as good as he is now without a solid O line his whole career?
No.
Tom Brady?
No.
Like that's what makes great quarterbacks is their O line. Yeah. So I mean that was our question mark coming in was can they keep him off the ground? Can they keep him fresh and white? And he's being greened up all over the place because he's constantly hitting the ground. And it's not even him trying to roll out. It's the guy.
And I want to see them do good.
The ball's in his hands for 3 seconds, and he's on the ground. And you're right. I'm not praying on a downfall for Colorado.
I want to see them play.
I want to see them. I like Travis Hunter.
And
I like Shedeur Sanders. I like Dion.
I love Dion.
Ex Florida State.
But when you gotta like instead of blaming it on just one person on the team, the whole team's got to take 100%. The blame. You guys all lost the game.
Yeah.
Like, I understand the O-line was a big issue in that game, but no one played well in that game. Not one person. Also, I believe Travis Hunter was getting cooked on defense as well. That's got to stop if he wants to be a top recruit in the NFL.
Yeah.
That's got to stop.
I mean,
because he can be he's so much better than what he's shown on defense. We've seen what he can do on offense, but his defense is low-key is dwindling down.
I think the big reason for that was because of how pissed he was getting in the game.
Yeah.
So he let the frustration. So you're taking what happened on. This is the problem about being a two-way player playing on the offensive defensive side. You're all pissed off at what's going on the offensive side. You're not getting touches. You're not we're not moving the ball. There's just no time for Shedeur to get the ball to you. You want to make a play, but you just can't.
Yeah.
But then you're taking that anger, that frustration, which he was getting pissed, yelling at Shedeur, yelling at everyone, just going crazy, throwing his helmet. Then you're taking that on the defensive side of the ball.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not focused. You're not focused on what your goal is in that moment in time on that play.
Mm-hmm.
So I think his focus is constantly shifting because he's playing offensive defensive side. It's great.
I mean, he's a
It's
dog.
great.
He's a dog.
But to me, it's a circus act.
Yeah.
He's
He's got to stop dancing in the beginning. Like, I understand you're trying to have a good time before the game and stuff.
No,
Get in
you
the
gotta
zone.
lock in.
Lock in. Remember what's his name? Dawkins.
Yeah. Lock in.
You remember when he said right when he stepped out, what did he compare himself to?
I don't know.
He compared himself to like some type of animal.
He turned into a boogie.
And you saw what he did on the field.
It's all mentality, and I think that has to do with Travis.
And yes,
Hunter.
I'm not saying you can't dance. When you score, go dance. Yeah. But Travis, beginning of the game, get in the zone, bro.
Yeah,
I want to see you do
a lot of maturity. I think it's just you being a young guy. You know what I mean? You're still learning how to become.
People are talking shit in the stands. I totally understand that, but if you want to get this, if you want to get it done and shut those people up in the stands, you got to stop dancing and show them up on the field.
Yeah, that's
show them what you can do.
Correct.
And you're playing offense and defense. You could cook them both ways.
Yeah, I think the problem is you're trying to yap too much before the game to the fans. Just let your play do the talking.
Exactly.
That's let your play do the talking.
Exactly.
You could score a touchdown and go talk shit all you want.
All you want. Score a touchdown, talk as much as you want.
Your play has got to represent your talk. You can't just sit there and flash up the watch before the game. Like, no, do that when you score.
Yeah.
Do that when you make something happen.
I don't like any of that.
I think that's too flashy and that's too arrogant and that's too cocky.
Yeah. Win the game. Say you win the game at Nebraska, then go do that to the stands.
But I think that's cockiness, not confidence.
Yeah.
I think that's where it borderlines. But I don't want people to think like we're bashing.
I'm not bad. I love Dion. I love everything about them. Like, I want to see them do well. But when you have players dancing before the games and not getting in the zone, and then you don't recruit O-line, you're not gonna win football games. You're just not. You're not.
Yeah.
You're not.